Why are designers, engineers, and product managers in a three-way standoff? And to me, this is absolutely fascinating because I've been in, I would say, all of these roles. I'm an engineer by education. I am a designer by trade. I've been working as a service designer for over 10 years, and I've managed products all the way from conception of the idea and the understanding of the problem all the way through early development and to a release where actual money being made. On March the 24th, Lenny Rachitsky, a former Airbnb product developer and author of the business Substack Lenny's Newspaper, published an article featuring exclusive data on the state of tech hiring in early 2026. The data was collected by TrueUp, a tech job marketplace tracker. Overall, it paints a positive picture for the tech job market, but for designers, it points to a moment of hiring uncertainty. Okay, so this is interesting. I live in Sweden, and some trends might be slower to come here, but I mean, we've definitely felt a slow job market. I mean, all the way back since the pandemic, almost after that. I have been feeling that the job market has been sort of on an upward trajectory. That it's been better. But I can also see that designers have a tough time, especially junior designers. Not the most fun situation. TrueUp found that design roles have plateaued since 2023, and ever since then, demand for product managers, the professional who help guide a product from ideation to completion, has risen. These findings have ignited debate online about how AI might fundamentally be changing the organizational chart at tech companies and whether it's making designers obsolete. Yeah. Every time I see this type of argument, I'm wondering whether it's a short-term or a long-term change. And what I mean by that is, will it eliminate designers from product teams altogether? Or will it change it? Or will it sort of, is there a superficial effect that, oh, it looks like it can do the job, but actually it doesn't do the job very well. And in the long term, you run into problems because of this. And you're going to have to start to retrain and rehire people to sort of do the design tasks again. I don't know. I think that it's kind of hard to know. But it's an interesting question. Everyone from tech CEOs to designers at AI companies and Mark Andreessen, the co-founder of one of the world's largest venture capital firms, are weighing in. Here's what you need to know about the data and the larger debate. All right. Inside the data, design roles are hitting a plateau. TrueUp's data is collected by tracking job openings at the majority of tech companies and tech top startups. I'm assuming that this is in the US, which includes more than 9,000 companies, not including consultancies or non-tech companies. According to Rachitsky, who analyzed the data for the past 4 years, 2026 outlook is surprisingly the most optimistic so far. And I mean, that's good. The AIs haven't taken all of our jobs so far. I'm expecting that a lot of these sort of tougher times and a lot of the layoffs that we've seen aren't in fact about AI, but rather just the business cycle of like, okay, so now we need to get rid of X amount of 10,000 engineers to sort of trim down operations. And then when the economy is starting to go up again, we're going to see hirings again. That's usually what happens. But we have a convenient sort of scapegoat when it comes to AI. It's like, yeah, it's because of AI is going to streamline our operations, so we don't need as much people. I don't know that we've seen that is the case. I'm sure it has an effect, but I don't know how much. To start, OpenPM jobs are at the highest levels they've reached since 2022, around 7,300 roles globally. Oh, globally, okay. Software engineer jobs are also trending up since a recent low in 2023, with 67,000 jobs available globally and 26,000 in the US alone. We don't know if there would have been more open roles if not for AI, or if AI is actually leading to more open roles. But since the start of this year, the increase in open engineering roles is accelerating even more. Okay, so that's basically that argument that we don't know if AI has an effect, but maybe. Um, and AI jobs, which includes open roles at AI-driven companies as well as AI-specific roles at non-AI companies, are skyrocketing. There are currently 36,686 open AI jobs compared to sub 10,000 numbers in 2023. Amidst this general upturn, design jobs are having a less optimistic moment. Unlike PM and engineering, Rachitsky's analysis notes that open design jobs have been relatively flat since 2023. At the time of the newsletter's release, TrueUp found just 5,700 roles available globally. So that is less than the PM jobs. Yeah, by a couple of thousand. From a macro perspective, the ratio of demand for PM versus designers has flipped. In mid 2023, open PM roles overtook open design roles, and the disparity has been increasing ever since. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but it does feel AI related, Rachitsky writes in his newsletter. Unlike PM and engineering, which started growing in 2024, design didn't. If I had to venture a theory, I'd say that because AI is allowing engineers to move so quickly, there's less opportunity and less desire to involve traditional design process. Yeah, I can see that. The speed is certainly not aligned with sort of the design philosophy of taking in a lot of user feedback and making sure that we really understand the problem space. It is tempting, I feel, to just start doing work because it's so fast. It's just, and you have something. And I don't know how sustainable that is. That's the point that I was trying to make earlier. I think understanding the business problems, understanding the user problems, I'm not saying that a designer necessarily has to do that, but someone needs to do it. And I don't think it can be an AI in many, maybe it can in some, but not, almost never when you're trying to do something new. You can get help from AI, but you need sort of that data collection and the creativity and the understanding of things. Interesting for sure. How the design community is responding. In the week following his newsletter, his post on X, his analysis has been reposted hundreds of times and attracted an influx of discourse from online community of designers, PMs, and engineers. Some responders see this industry data as a signal that AI is fundamentally changing designers' workflow, and those who fail to adapt to the times are getting left behind. Designers have designed themselves out of the equation because of design systems. Roger Wong, head of design at BuildOps, commented under Rachitsky's original post. But in my opinion, the secret sauce has never been the UI. It's been the workflows and looking across the experience holistically. Okay, so this is very, very interesting. Basically, what we're saying here is that design systems and AI together removes the need for the UI designers that do like the minutia and like very skilled labor. Like, it's hard. I can't do it. I find it really, really difficult. But that if you have a design system and you have an AI, you can solve a lot of those things. I think that can be true. What I've seen when I've worked with an AI to do a prototype, for example, is that it's very time consuming and hard to scale it down to something that is useful without having a lot of extra stuff that isn't. The AI prototyping tools, they tend to add a lot of stuff onto the wireframes or the prototype, and it's not trivial to remove all of that. I have a pretty good understanding of product and people and usage but what I don't have a good understanding of is interaction patterns and UI elements efficiency and effectiveness. So I have a hard time evaluating the usability, the efficiency, effectiveness, and satisfaction of an interface. And there I really need help with someone that is an expert in that. If I'm going to do something that is production ready, I do want a UX designer to do that work, even though I have the user studies and the understanding part nailed down. Oftentimes those UX designers are very, very good sounding boards as well for that stuff. So yeah. Continuing, Claire Vaux, founder of the AI Copilot Chat PRD, added, often design teams and designers are the most resistant to change, or in the EPD triad, with highly vocal AI opponents and little skill or interest in the art of campaigning for influence or resources. Most teams, she continued, treat design like a tax they don't want to pay. If a PM or an engineer can get 85% there with tailwind and a dream, you better come to the table with more than I represent the user, she concluded. Yeah, this has been a problem in designer sort of in the designer community for a long time. We have trouble with people believing that it's enough to use their perspective to approximate what a user would do and say and think in a situation. And I think you have to be much more nuanced than what Claire Vaux is describing here. You can't just say that you're representing the user. You actually have to come with a more sound process to represent what needs to be done in order to achieve a goal. And other things. There are a lot of things that are more valuable than just having this idea that you represent the user. This hits home to me. This is one of the most frustrating things that I ever like. I do not like it when designers have this, I represent the user. Because you don't. You represent yourself, or you represent some group that you are within, but you, like, just having empathy doesn't make it so that you can represent another group. You can do work, and that work actually, you can make an effort at representing how you think a group of people will want to be represented. It's a bit of a, but you cannot say that you represent the users, because it's just not true. And I think that's something that designers, we needed to learn that 10 years ago, but now it's gonna have to be quick. Others believe that in the long run, a greater resilience on AI tools will make human designers more important as tastemakers. Design seems to be viewed as dispensable in this very moment, CEO of the computing company Mainframe, Jordan Singer, says. But the reality that will become clear as time has shown is that design is what will make you rise above the rest. Yeah, it's not just taste, it's an understanding of how interfaces work. And if you believe that interfaces will still be a thing, as I do, you need people that are experts in building interfaces. I don't know how many you need and how much you can use AI to get there. I think quite a lot, honestly. I think you can get a lot of help. But it's, yeah. I think these are good points. On March 30th, Raczynski followed up on his newsletter through an interview with Andreessen, co-founder of Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen likened the current atmosphere to a three-way standoff among product engineers, designers, and coders. Each side of the triad believes that AI has given them enough tools to subsume the roles of the other two. And that is so interesting. I wonder if that is true. I expect that it's going to be more a personality trait than actually which part of this Venn diagram that you belong to that makes the big difference on whether you can actually do that. And I also suspect that it's a lot about the scale of the projects, because at some point it's going to become so complex that you're going to have someone that evaluates and rewrites and fixes the code. You're going to have someone that can take care of stakeholders while that code magic is happening. And you're going to need, as I said before, someone that is an expert in the interfaces and can do the user research. And yeah, AI is actually now a really good coder, a really good designer, and a really good product manager. Maybe. I'm still not convinced. I think it can be a great help, but can it do all of these things? The information is there, but is the sort of coordination and understanding. I mean, I don't know. While the future of this standoff remains murky, it seems clear that the industry is currently in the middle of an organizational flux. New AI tools are constantly blurring the lines between these three roles, creating new positions that blend elements of each. In the future, there will almost definitely still be need for human coding, design, and product managing skills, but we may not define each of those jobs the same way. Yeah. And then there's a quote from Anthropic's chief designer. I think there's a lot of role collapse at the very beginning, but there are still pretty clear swim lanes as things get into the later stages of product development. Okay, maybe. I have a hard time sort of trusting the great AI companies higher ups, because they have very strong incentives to say things and do things. PMs are still the best at figuring out a product business case, engineers are still the best at deploying those products, and designers are still the best at tackling bigger human-computer interaction questions, he said. It's like a Venn diagram that's coming closer together. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna walk back what I just said because he agrees with my point, and I'm just gonna say that sounds brilliant. Good analysis. Okay, fantastic.